Visiting Canadian Foreign Affairs Minister calls on the President, the Prime Minister and the opposition leader. The Padayatra of the joint opposition reaches Manila. An ambulance that passed through the Padayatra damaged. Police investigations commence. An ambulance service for Sri Lanka with the support of India. Sri Lanka ends Day 3 of first test against Australia on a dominant position.
Very good evening to all our viewers and welcome to Primetime News. We are coming to you live and direct from the News1st studio here in Colombo. Bringing you the news tonight, I am Joel Outscore.
And I'm Arundhati Mudannaik. Let's take a look at the stories in detail now. The Foreign Minister of Canada, Stéphane Dion, arrived in Sri Lanka on an official visit. According to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, this is the first visit undertaken by a Canadian Foreign Minister after a lapse of 13 years.
Foreign Minister of Canada Stéphane Dion called on President Maithripala Sirisena this morning at the President's official residence. Dion said that Canada would provide every possible assistance to the steps taken by the government of President Maithripala Sirisena to strengthen democracy, the rule of law, reconciliation and economic development. The Canadian Foreign Minister also praised the measures taken to strengthen democracy in Sri Lanka through the strengthening of the country's judicial system. Visiting Canadian Foreign Minister Stéphane Dion also called on Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe at Temple Trees today. A statement from the Prime Minister's office reads that the duo engaged in bilateral discussions. Thereafter, the Canadian Foreign Minister called on his Sri Lankan counterpart Mangala Samaravira.
Though geographically distant, Canada and Sri Lanka have shared a remarkable relationship over the years. And it was somewhat sad to watch our relations drift for a while. During our meeting today, we discussed a range of issues of bilateral importance, including development cooperation, reconciliation efforts, economic cooperation, governance, and people-to-people ties. We also discussed the importance of providing an economic peace dividend for the people of Sri Lanka and the interconnected nature of reconciliation and development. I also informed Minister Dion that we are keen to engage with the Sri Lankan community in Canada and invite them to visit the country that they left or was compelled to leave many decades ago. I explained that we are keen that they also explore meaningful ways of contributing to Sri Lanka's reconciliation and development efforts.
We want to be a strong partner both for your reconciliation, your democratization, and your development. Canada welcomes the positive engagement by Sri Lanka with the Human Rights Council and its mechanism in the context of the UN Human Rights Council resolution on Sri Lanka, co-sponsored by Sri Lanka, but also by Canada. And we note the progress made toward constitutional reforms. However, much more remains to be accomplished. As Prime Minister Trudeau said, Canada is strong, not despite, but because of its diversity. Why should it not become true for Sri Lanka? The reconciliation journey will be long and strewn with obstacles, but it is important to focus on the future.
Later in the day, the visiting Canadian Foreign Minister met with opposition leader Sambandhan and other representatives of the Tamil National Alliance.
On to a developing story this evening. The Padayatra or the protest march organized by the joint opposition commenced from Peradeniya this morning and concluded its first day in the Galithan area in Manila.
A group of opposition MPs led by former President Mahinda Rajapaksa arrived at the Rajapavarna Rama temple in Gatabe and obtained blessings. The group then passed the city limits of Kandy and commenced the protest in close proximity to the Peradeniya bridge. Former President Mahinda Rajapaksa joined in the protest march from the Peradeniya town.
ගොඩක් උඩින් නවත්තන්න බෑ. ඒක පේන හරිය වගේ නවත්තමු.
Final stop of the Padayatra on day 1 was the Galethani area in Manila. Barricades had been put up across the road from that point onwards, and our correspondent stated that a water cannon was also on standby. Meanwhile, a tense situation arose when an ambulance went past the Gatambe temple where the protesters were remaining. The protesters charged that the ambulance did not have a patient inside. The driver of the ambulance had lodged a complaint with the Peradeniya police. This is the manner in which the ambulance was damaged.
Patient hospital.
I went to the Peradeniya hospital to pick up a patient. On the way, there was a rally at the Gatambe junction which had caused a block. So I put the siren on. At that instant, a group attacked the ambulance and also launched a blow to my arm.
Here are some of the views expressed on the march organized by the joint opposition.
This rally is attempting to arouse racism. Today we can witness the beginning of another civil war. The individuals who are protesting are ones who should be in prison wearing jumpers.
Those who are involved in court cases have brought in people. This rally is not being conducted for the people. This is a conspiracy to change the government and escape from their court cases.
This government is very stable. Even if you consider mathematical theory, you cannot change the majority in parliament. You cannot topple a government by staging such rallies. The rally was not approved by the SLFP Central Committee, nor was it approved by the SLFP MPs. So I can state with responsibility that this is not something organized by the SLFP.
As the SLFP, we did not decide to stage a rally. It is the SLFP that will make a decision if anyone has gone against the wishes of the party. I cannot state anything in addition to this.
Don't you have any idea of staging a rally?
The JVP has no need to learn how to stage rallies or how to work with the people.
අලුතින් මහ පොළොවත් එක්ක වැඩ කරන්න ඉගෙන ගන්න හෝ පුරුදු වෙන්න ඕන කමක් නැහැ. තෙල් මන්ද ටිකක් බහින්න පාගමන යන්න ඕන වෙලා තියෙන පුළුවන්.
And in news from courts this evening, 6 persons including MP Namal Rajapaksa have been named as suspects in an offence involving the purchasing of shares in Hello Corp and Govas Corporate Services, which provides services to Lanka. They were named as suspects following a request made to Colombo Additional Magistrate Nishanta Perez by the Police Financial Crimes Investigations Division. The police submitted to court that the suspects had committed an offence under the Money Laundering Act by using funds earned through improper means to purchase shares in the aforementioned companies. Furthermore, the police submitted that Rajapaksa had used his position as an MP to influence the transaction valued at 125 million rupees. This information came to light when 39 invoices at the 2 companies were examined. The case will be taken up again on the 1st of September. Well, Arundhati,
Yes.
what would you do if this glass of water here had an ant in it?
I would most likely throw it away.
That is something simple which most of us here in Colombo would hear. Well, but that's not the story. The People of Kulegama Thanamalvilla aren't as fortunate as you are, as they have been left with the despair of consuming brackish water for over 80 years.
Hence, the first step to give these locals a simple gift of clean drinking water in the days to come was undertaken today.
The Gammadda 100-day initiative. With the people, for the people.
Day 9. The people of Kulegama made a pledge before the sacred boat tree that they would soon be able to cleanse the boat tree with clean water instead of the brackish water they have been using over the decades. For over 80 years, this village of over 80 families consumed brackish water. This has resulted in kidney diseases running rampant among the community. The Gammadda 100-day initiative, which is in effect with the people, for the people, took its first step to provide Kulegama with clean drinking water. In the days to come, the people of Kulegama will receive water from this well, which will be directed through a filtration unit and into a filter.
We've been drinking this water since we were children. We hope that we will be able to drink clean water after the construction of this well. Many of us suffer from chronic kidney disease. Even the children suffer from this. This initiative by Sirisa has changed the fate of our lives. This is a meritorious deed. It was difficult for us to survive without proper water. Now we are extremely happy.
Meanwhile, renovation of the Damananyaya road, which commenced under the Gammadda 100-day initiative, is nearing its final stages. It's been 9 days since the construction of the road in Damananyaya commenced. Heavy machines are being used to renovate this road. I believe that we will be able to complete this process in the next 2 days and hand over the road back to the public.
The establishment of Gammadda Savia community organizations took place today with the aim of extending public support to successfully implement the Gammadda 100-day initiative.
These organizations will implement selected projects and focus on its maintenance. The Gammadda Savia community organizations are being established with the participation of locals in areas where projects are being initiated. The Gammadda Savia community organization commenced its operations with the commencement of the Kulegama project today.
On to more local news. The People's Intellectual Assembly says that a code of conduct for MPs must be introduced before establishing institutions that would regulate media institutions and journalists.
We all agree that there needs to be laws that would affect everybody. They speak of a code of conduct for the media, but where is the code of conduct for Parliament? When the government of good governance was established, they said that a code of conduct for MPs will be introduced. Keeping aside the code of conduct for MPs, they are attempting to introduce one for the media.
Meanwhile, leader of the JVP, Anuruddha Kumar Disanayak, was speaking on the Newsline program today, commented on the matter of regulating the media.
The current administration, in one hand, is attempting to intimidate and create laws that would incite fear among the media.
If the present government brings in regulations to control the media and oppress the media, what action would the JVP take?
I guarantee that we will not allow this bill to be passed in Parliament.
Welcome back to the news. A new ambulance service which gives a new meaning to the free health policy commenced in the western and southern provinces today. The new service was launched following a ceremony held at the Golfways Green under the auspices of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe.
The emergency ambulance service, which comes as a result of Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Sri Lanka, will be in operation in the country starting today. The government of India has spent a sum of $7.6 million for this service. The event was graced by Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe, ministers and MPs, as well as Indian High Commissioner to Sri Lanka, YK Singha. 3 years ago, this ground was packed with sandbags for night racing. A number of Lamborghinis ran circles around this area. A couple of people were run over and killed. But since there is good governance today, what is actually leaving these grounds are micro-hospitals. This will be a complete facility which will provide the required needs for patients until he or she is brought to the hospital, which will help save lives. It will have a medical technician as well as an EMT at all times. This is a meritorious deed, and that merit should be given to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Indian Premier Narendra Modi also expressed his views at the event via satellite technology.
It is important as it will help save lives, are ambitious. It will reach out to over 8 million residents of southern and western Sri Lanka. I am told it will also be a source of substantial job creation in local communities.
From tomorrow, this service will operate in the Hambantota, Mathura and Galle districts. And in a week or two, it will operate in Colombo, Gampaha and Kalutara. There may be minor shortcomings in the beginning, but this is being done out of goodwill. First, it was said the employees for this service would be brought in from India. But then we responded to that. Then we selected and sent our own children for training, and they got excellent training. Then it was said that they will bring back malaria from India. These weren't said by ordinary people. These statements were made by doctors. 246 Sri Lankans who have been trained as paramedics at GVK laboratories in Hyderabad, India have been enrolled for this service. In case of an emergency, you can contact the number 1990 to utilize this ambulance service free of charge, which will be in operation 24 hours of the day.
Academic activities of all the universities in the island were hampered owing to the ongoing crisis within the university system. A group of over 13,000 individuals representing higher education institutions which come under the administration of the University Grants Commission are taking part in this trade union action. The trade union action is being staged citing 7 demands, including a call to add the 2,500 rupee allowance to their basic salary. Non-academic staff of the University of Colombo staged a demonstration opposite the university compound this morning, demanding that an immediate solution be given to their demands. Academic activities did not take place at the university today owing to the strike action. The basic functions of universities such as lectures and examinations have been hampered. This is an issue regardless of what aspect you look at it, may it be from the students' aspect, the teachers or even the university.
මේ අතර සෙසු විශ්වවිද්‍යාල රැසක අධ්‍යයන කටයුතුද අද
Chairman of the Elections Commission, Mahinda Deshapre, explained as to why there is a delay in the local government elections.
මේ ඡන්දේ කල්යන්නේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ සම්මත කරලා තියෙන පනතක් ඡන්දේ තියන්න ඕනේ කොට.
There's an act that has been approved in Parliament that elections should be held based on the first past post electorate system. It is not only the local government institutions that expired last year, even the institutions that are in the Batticlaw district operate under officials. The election should be held on the preferential voting system. That was changed in the 2012 Act. It was enacted in December 2012. The report of the National Committee in this regard was handed over in August last year. We got it in October. There is a committee that is appointed to look into the complaints. The reason why the election cannot be held is the Act being passed without the demarcations and the separation of electorates. That is something beyond the control of elections commissions. Meanwhile, a discussion was held between Minister of Local Government and Provincial Council Faisal Mustafa and the Elections Commission with regard to holding local government elections. The election can be held in the first quarter of next year. The delimitation is in its last phase, and due to the dearth in the number of councillors, we will have to increase the number by 300.
Central Bank Governor Dr. Indrajit Kumaraswamy opened trading at the Colombo Stock Exchange today. Senior officials of the Central Bank and the Colombo Stock Exchange were among those present when the Governor of the Central Bank opened today's trading by ringing the bell.
We don't think there are quick fixes. I think trying to create sugar highs by artificially trying to boost asset markets or growth or anything else is not helpful. In the end, it creates distortions where everybody really loses. So the critical thing is to create the fundamentals to ensure that the economy grows. The government has embarked on a stabilization program. Really, in my view, without stabilization of the economy, nothing is possible. And at the heart of that stabilization needs to be fiscal consolidation. This is a problem we've had for 3-4 decades. And it seems the government is making an effort to get to grips with that. So that, in terms of the future, is one positive sign.
The International Conference on IoT for Smart Living, organized by the Institute of Engineering and Technology Sri Lanka Network, got underway in Colombo today. Internet of Things, or IoT, is a network of physical devices such as home, office, factory and personal appliances and other devices embedded with electronics, software, sensors and network connectivity that enable these objects to collect and exchange data. The event saw the participation of industry experts in the field of ICT and heads of businesses and leaders in the industry. Vasanta Deshapriya, Secretary of the Ministry of Telecommunication and Digital Infrastructure, delivered the keynote address in IoT Country Readiness and Digital Sri Lanka.
The ICT Agency of Sri Lanka, the apex ICT institution of the government, together with other stakeholders, organised Sri Lanka's first ever startup conference and tech showcase titled Disrupt Asia 2016.
The event, which is the first of its kind in Sri Lanka, saw the gathering of the entire startup ecosystem of Sri Lanka. The aim of the conference and the exhibition is to provide startups and entrepreneurs an opportunity to learn from the best and to showcase their products. The conference featured key roles from the industry, including Silicon Valley experts and Sri Lankan thought leaders who covered topics surrounding investments, growth, marketing and leadership.
Disrupt Asia is a platform which is given for tech startups in Sri Lanka to learn, to network, to connect and to exhibit. How we do that is by organizing a conference with many tracks, with many speakers who are imparting their knowledge for startups to learn. There's an opportunity given to 35 exhibitors who are tech startups to exhibit their systems here at Disrupt Asia. Why it's special is because of the investor forum that is also taking place at the same place.
Well, large crowds continue to add their wishes to the Torch of Hope rally, which is organized with the intention of mustering support for Sri Lankan sportsmen and women who will be competing at the Rio Olympics. The rally, which entered its 15th day today, is organized by the Capital Maharaja Organisation Limited together with Newsfirst and is supported by the Ministry of Sports, Ministry of Education and the National Youth Services Council.
The Torch of Hope rally commenced the day's journey from the Avisawella town. The motorcade of the Torch of Hope rally was made more colourful with the participation of various dance troupes as well as local sports clubs and youth clubs. Later, the motorcade reached the Ratnapura town. Former discus throw national champion Padma Nandani carried the Torch of Hope in the Ratnapura town. The Torch of Hope rally marked its conclusion today at the Palmadula town, where a ceremony was organized to welcome it.
As we mentioned earlier in the bulletin, academic activities of all universities in the island were hampered owing to the ongoing crisis within the university system. Let's take a look at some of the situation at some of the universities in the country.
We came here to use the library, but we cannot do so because everything is closed. I have to register for level 4, nothing is taking place, and I came here after obtaining leave from work. All non-academic staff at the University of Ruhuna are taking part in this strike action. Many of the activities at the university, including educational activities, have come to a standstill.
Meanwhile,
Well, on that note, we wrap up the news tonight. Thank you very much for stopping by for the News1st team. I'm Joel Outsko.
And I'm Aruniti Mudanaik. Good night.
Good night.